The primary difference between this legislation and what was passed in Illinois is the focus on in-home and in-community care, as well as crisis prevention. And Michigan can afford this program because we must. In his book, Crisis in U.S. Healthcare, Dr. John Gaiman asserts, there has been a common theme of beneficence running through earlier centuries in medicine that transcended culture, religion, and history. He goes on to explain how this system has shifted away from beneficence to favor business ethics in healthcare. He says physicians act primarily as employees of the system whose efficiency and production are valued greater than the level of care they provide. When our focus shifts to mental health, it is hard to agree with Dr. Gaiman's assertion of the beneficence of the past. The history of mental health care and services in this country have not always been a rosy picture of beneficence. And when we look at the struggles that parents of a mentally ill child have faced, it is often a case of choosing the least harmful option for their family, even today. Today's taxpayer demands efficiency and cost-effective health care. With the passage of the Affordable Care Act, U.S. federal law put a greater emphasis on the importance and cost savings associated with preventative care. Experts in the mental health field agree we should be applying the same logic to mental health as we do for physical health when it comes to preventative care. The deinstitutionalization movement in mental health has helped many people find care in their community instead of being placed in facilities, but that does not mean we should have no funds whatsoever for those who do need inpatient or residential care. We have to acknowledge there will be situations in which Medicaid-funded residential care will not be available or will not be adequate, but the parent will also be unable to care for their child in their home without additional services. This is when the state needs to step in with additional Medicaid and CHIP funding without disrupting the structure of the family with a permanent loss of custody. This will uphold utility and bring the greatest good as well as the least harm. When a child is dumped on a state protective agency because the parent feels like they have no other options, it also becomes a matter of respect for persons. In the case we heard of Eileen and Noah, Eileen was threatened with absurd bills and legal action if she did not pick up her child. The hospital workers knew she was staging a lockout, but they had to try to prevent it, so they used manipulation tactics to treat Eileen as a means to get Noah out of their institution. It also defies logic and the principle of rationality for a loving, attentive parent to have to give up custody of their child in order to get the best care for their child, because the act of involving the court and giving up custody is inherently harmful to both parent and child. With the system set up the way it is, Eileen was forced to violate child abandonment laws to make the best choice for her family, and she should never have been put in that situation. The morally right choice is to end the harmful practice of forced custody relinquishment and psychiatric lockouts in our state with this legislation.